Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a daily interview with a successful real estate investor. Our guest today has purchased, renovated, and sold well over 200 properties, ranging from single-family homes, duplexes, multifamily properties, mobile homes, raw land, and even a ski resort. His team has purchased multifamily buildings in 5 states and holds over $15 million of real estate. He has also raised over $10 million in private equity and provided his investors with double-digit returns on every investment. Todd Dexheimer is principal of Venture D and is also the host of the Pillars of Wealth Creation podcast. Todd, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. Good to be here.
You are very welcome, and I'm really looking forward to this. So to kick things off, what are your real estate goals? What do you hope to accomplish with real estate?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, just having that financial freedom obviously is one of the main goals. Goal for me is to build a company that's going to make a big difference in this world. I want to not only build a company that provides good income for my family and myself, but a company that's able to really give back, like I said, make a difference. I'm trying to build a company that's really positive for my residents that are living in my buildings, and also really positive for those who are working for me, as well as then being able to give back to the community too. So that's kind of where, the goals of the company for us, is we look at, what do we want to grow to? I'd like to grow to a $1 billion company in the future, and just continue to acquire more multifamily units and potentially commercial units just as we go here. So,
yeah. You mentioned the $1 billion number. Is that just an arbitrary number because it's big, or does that have, why did you choose a build? I'm always interested because some people say I want to own 10,000 units, or I want to have such and such monthly cash flow. Why did you choose $1 billion?
Yeah, a couple of reasons. One is when I look at it and go, okay, I want to have 10,000 units or whatever. I went, yeah, but what if I decide to start buying in a market where the units are 150,000, 200,000 a unit, or so maybe I'm buying less units, or if I'm buying a market where there are 35,000 a unit, then I need more than 10,000 units to get kind of that income goal. So it's partly to do with income goal. And it was, if I say 10,000 units, so then I limit myself to multifamily, to units. If I buy a large industrial space, maybe 5 of those that are hundreds of thousands of square feet, well, that's 1 unit. What does that mean? So taking units out made a lot of sense to me, and just looking at, okay, sheer volume, what does that look like? And then as far as the number goes, to me, it's a number large enough to be able to make an impact that I want to make. If I can get to that $1 billion range, that's going to allow me to have a large enough company to be able to affect a large enough amount of people that I want to make, and not have to worry too much about it.
For sure. And how far along towards that goal do you think you are right now?
I'm still a long ways away. I still have under 100 million. So I've got a long ways to go.
Yeah, I hope you're wearing your work boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So
Warren Buffett at my age, he only had, I can't remember, but I looked it up not too long ago. He only had $5-6 million in net worth. So
yeah. Oh, for sure. And I like the big goals because, unless you're setting big goals, even if you miss by a little bit, you're still accomplishing way more than if you stuck with something small and safe, right?
Right.
Yeah. So as you've been building your company, have you had any ideas that you thought for sure would be a home run and turned out to kind of land a little flat?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't know about a home run. I try not to use those terms, because that's usually when it ends up being the opposite.
Yeah.
But I've had plenty of deals that I thought were going to be amazing deals that ended up turning out just to be, average or even below average deals. And usually that happens when you maybe get a little too excited about the opportunity and you don't pay attention to all the details. Whether that be, there's been times where I think the property is worth more than what it is just because it's in a great area and I want to believe in it. But usually what happens is it's more, I underestimate the cost and I underestimate the time that it's going to take to do whatever renovations I need to add the value to the property. So that's typically where you get in trouble, where you think, oh, I can do this value add. It's going to take me X amount of time and it takes you way longer and it costs you way more money. And then the quote unquote home run turns into potentially a foul ball.
Yeah, gotcha. So have you changed anything in your underwriting or acquisition process to kind of mitigate that?
Yeah. So a couple things. One is I have much larger reserve account now than I used to have. And then the other thing is my budget. I would say I'm a lot more conservative on my renovation budget, where if I think we're going to be able to get the thing done for, let's call it $5,000 a unit, I'm going to add about 15 to 20%, depending on exactly the details of the project, but I'm going to add a good amount extra just for a contingency budget on that. Yeah. I guess the more work that needs to be done, the larger your contingency budget should be. And that's not just as a sheer number, that's just like a percentage wise. If you're going to have $10,000-$15,000 renovation per unit, you better be put an extra 20% aside.
Yeah. And if you don't use it, that's gravy. But if you do have to use it, at least you're safe, right?
Well, sure. And I use other people's capital for my investments. So I do syndications. So I'm raising money on an apartment complex that I'm going to purchase. And I would rather raise, let's call it an extra $300,000-$400,000, maybe even $500,000. That shows the returns as potentially being worse in my underwriting, right? So if I just was trying to skimp it and go with what I thought I could get it done for on like the bare bones, my returns, I might be able to show my investors 20% return, whatever, maybe even higher than that. But if I add in the extra $400,000-$500,000, maybe even more than that, now all of a sudden I'm down to 16%, 17% return. And it doesn't look quite as good, but it doesn't matter for me. I would rather be able to hit those, and and all my investors would rather have me give them money back in the end. So.
Yeah. No, 100%. So out of all the deals you've done so far, is there one that stands out as a Keystone deal that really propelled you forward?
Boy, I don't know that there's any Keystone deals that propelled me forward. I mean, obviously the first deal that you do is really going to be something that's going to hopefully catapult you. So with me, I did 3 actually, all at the same time. I bought them pretty much the same time. So that really catapulted me forward. It got me in the mindset. It got me in the game. Actually finally buying that first property or first 3 properties, really just, it was all done from there. Like I was a real estate investor and I was going to be doing this full time, and that was it. So I would say maybe that more than anything. I mean, there's been some great deals that I've done through the years, but they didn't probably define what I was doing. I was already doing it and I was already completely engrossed in it. So.
Gotcha. What did that first deal look like? What kind of property was it?
Yeah, again, it was 3 deals that I bought. So I can't remember which one came first.
Okay.
So I bought a single family home to house hack. So we didn't call it house hacking back then. I just was living in it and flipping it as I was living in it. Yeah. So that was a foreclosure. We bought that, my wife and I, and did all the renovations and most of it ourselves. And 2 years later sold it and did pretty well on it, and actually continued to do that quite a few times. The next one was a flip. That one didn't go so well, but still, it got me hungry, wanting to do it. So that was a renovation sold. It ended up making a few $1,000 at the most. Yeah. And then the third one, I saw the light on the rentals. I bought that. It was a single family again. Yeah. So they're all single families, but that was a single family, and I bought it for, I think it was like $60,000, $65,000, something like that. I put another $15,000, $20,000 into it. Used like all of our money between those houses, by the way. Yeah. The flip, I actually had to use somebody else's money to get the deal done. That's why I made nothing, because I had to pay my investor, and I wanted to pay them a healthy return too. But the rental made just a lot of sense, because, like I said, I bought it for like 60, 65, put another 15, 20 into it. And I was able to rent it for, I think it was $1,350 or $1,400, something like that, a month. And so the numbers, like, that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Then I was able to refinance that property, pull all my money out plus extra to be able to do it again. And that's where I was like, wow, I can really do this. Like, this is actually possible. I didn't know that. That was in 2008, when everybody was telling you to run for the hills, don't buy real estate. Yeah. You're crazy if you buy real estate, that type of thing. Now, looking back, of course, everybody goes, oh, you bought in 2008, you lucky guy.
That's right.
But at the time, I wasn't so lucky. People were saying, oh, poor you. To me. So.
Yeah. And when did the switch happen from doing the single family stuff to syndicating multifamily?
Unfortunately, it took a long time. I think the switch already went off, but there was nobody home. I knew that it made sense. I think it was that fear of change. For one, it was working what I was doing. I did a lot of flips. I did over 100 flips. I was buying a lot of I call them single families, but 1 to 4 family properties. I bought a couple of small apartment buildings. I bought a couple other random things, as you mentioned earlier. So it was working, right? I was making good cash flow. I was doing well in the flips. So I think it was that fear of moving to something else. And what if that doesn't work? And where am I going to find all that capital? Because obviously buying a 100-unit apartment complex, 200-unit apartment complex is going to take a lot of capital. Yeah. So I think there was just that fear. Finally, I just said, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to do it. I'm moving forward. I don't know that there was any like event. It was just like, you know what? Stop dragging your feet. Let's do this. You've got to get started, and you're never going to do it if you don't get started, right? Yeah. It's not going to happen. So you can dream about it all you want, but eventually you've got to buy. And it's just like that first single family house, or houses, you finally have to just sign on the dotted line and buy this stupid property.
Yeah. So if somebody's watching us right now, and maybe they've done some single family homes, and they've heard about the multifamily syndication side of real estate, what would your message be to them if they're thinking about it? Like, do you wish you started syndicating sooner, or how do you wish it played out?
I mean, it's hard to say I wish something, because I love where I'm at right now. I love my life right now. But yeah, I think if I could just, keep my life the way it is, obviously, but start earlier, absolutely. I don't think there was any reason why I shouldn't have started earlier. Let's just say that. Yeah. It would have made a lot of sense. The market would have been great to be starting in 2013 or 12 or whenever. So for somebody who's looking to, they're doing maybe single families, or maybe they're not doing anything, but they're looking to go into large multifamily, medium multifamily, or they're looking for commercial, whatever it is, but they're looking to step up their game, step up into something bigger. I would say just get out of your own way. Like, don't worry about graduating. Don't worry about taking, making that change like I did. Just get out of your own way and go for it. There's nothing too special about changing from single family to multifamily. Do you have to learn? Absolutely. But it shouldn't take you 4, 5, 6 years to learn. You should be able to learn fairly quickly, and make that transition. So it's, ready, fire, aim, and get started. I honestly just get started. Whether you're going to, invest in somebody else's passive syndication, whether you're going to help somebody out with a deal, whatever it is, I don't care what it is. There's probably 6 or 7 ways you can get involved in multifamily without being the main person, without being the main sponsor. And then there's being the main sponsor. So just get in the corridor, whatever it takes, and stop making excuses.
Yeah. And for you, when you made that first jump into syndication, how important was the team you surrounded yourself with to succeeding?
I would say it was definitely really important. I mean, you've got to have, first of all, you have to know what your limitations are. Who you need on your team. Are you looking to be the property manager or the contractor? What are your skill levels? And then figure out your skill. Figure out what you're really good at and what you really enjoy doing, and then figure out who then you need to be involved to make the whole thing successful. So for me, I needed third-party property management. I didn't want to have a management company, especially because I was buying out of state. So as third-party property management company, I needed a good quality team. Of course, then you need your brokers because you need to find a deal. You need your lenders because you need money for the deal, both private and bank or institutional. You need contractors because I'm doing value add. So you've got to have people that can actually do the work. I needed, the support people around me too. So, I already had a bookkeeper and an assistant. So I needed to transition them into, the new business model, make sure they understood what I was doing. So, a good, strong team around you is very, very critical to having success. But knowing your weaknesses, I think, is really important, or knowing maybe what you're not going to do and who you need around you.
Gotcha. And since you have been syndicating and really growing your portfolio, how has that changed your life for you and your family?
I guess since I started in real estate, it's just given me more flexibility to choose my schedule. I probably work a whole heap of a lot more. Actually, I know I do. I work a whole heap of a lot more than I ever did. I used to be a teacher, so I would, I did the, whatever it was, 7 to 3 job. And that was basically it. I had a little bit of take-home stuff, very rarely, but I had some take-home stuff here and there. So it was, I had that time freedom then, but now it's just different time freedom. It's a lot more flexible. Of course, there's more money that is being made, so there's that aspect as well. But we haven't really stepped up our lifestyle, I would say, really ever. We're still pretty frugal. We live in a modest, I don't know, it depends on who you talk to, a semi-modest house, but that was due to our hard work of flipping, house hacking our way to the house we're in right now. And we go on some vacations, but we just don't live a lavish lifestyle. So I don't know that it's changed a ton other than just the flexibility of time. I can go to my kids' school and volunteer. I can, they've got off this Friday and I'm contemplating of, spending some time with them and going rock climbing with them and, just hanging out with them. Where when I was teaching, that just wasn't a possibility.
Yeah. So you're in control of your time now, right?
Yeah. I'm in control of my time. I mean, I have to bust my butt still, but, I could, if I wanted to, just stop today, but I have no desire to do that. That sounds boring.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself in 10 years with your business? Like, will you be at $1 billion in 10 years?
I think I would love to be. I'm not going to put that restriction on myself. I don't think so. I mean, there's a couple variables that you've got to be aware of as a real estate investor. First of all, what's the market doing? Where are we at in the market cycle? I think that's a really important thing that, when you put a goal on is I want to buy, 1,000 units or 10,000 units or whatever, you've also got to have the market cooperate with you. Not that can be an excuse 100%, but you do need to be aware of kind of the market and what it's doing. And right now, our market is pretty competitive, very compressed. So you've got to, for me, I'm very conservative. I got to be careful about what I purchase. I'm still in the purchasing mode, but extremely conservative. So if this market cycle goes on for another, 5-6 years, am I going to get to the $1 billion mark? Probably not. But if it switches, tomorrow, could I get to that $1 billion mark? Yeah, I think I could. So I guess it really depends. I'm just trying to be very smart about the assets we buy. Really just be careful about how I build my business to make sure it's a business that can, I don't want to just get to $1 billion and then have everything collapse. I want to get to $1 billion and be able to go up to 5 billion or 10 billion or whatever it is from there that my goals want to stretch to. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's solid advice. So Todd, where can people find you if they're looking for some more information about you and your company?
Yeah, sure. So I'm all over the web. They can go to my website, which is venturedproperties.com, or I've got a podcast as well. It's called Pillars of Wealth Creation. So they can go to pillarsofwealthcreation.com, or they can look, on iTunes or SoundCloud or wherever they're listening, and search there. And they can also reach out to me on probably LinkedIn's the best way to reach out. So they could go on to LinkedIn, reach out to me, send me a note that said that you listen to me on a podcast or listen to me on Seth's podcast, and it makes it easier for me to connect if I know why you want to connect with me.
Yeah.
Especially if I have no clue who you are and we don't have mutual connections.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, Todd, just want to say thank you so much for sharing your real estate success with us today.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate, again, you having me on the show.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well in your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.